Growing up, Will Smith was always one of my favorite actors and artists. I mean, to this day, the Men in Black movies are some of my personal favorites. He had a positive, kid-friendly vibe that from my point of view was great. But nowadays, it seems like everyone hates Will Smith for a variety of reasons. Whether it's because of his weak response to his wife cheating on him seemingly selling out, or when he slapped Chris Rock, or just him putting out corny music, it just seems like everyone hates Will Smith now. And the more he tries to fix it, the worse it gets. Lately, it seems like Will Smith has been on a giant PR run over the last couple of years to get everyone to like him again. But like I said, the harder he tries, the worse it gets. For example, recently he put out a single to some very poor reception. It had been like 20 years since he released his own solo music, and his comeback album was pretty weak, but this new song is something else.
I like pretty girls.
The song has a pretty rough like to dislike ratio and has been getting torn apart by fans. The video has comments like, "This is hands down got to be the most elaborate way of coming out I've ever seen." Others said things like, "Guantanamo has a new banger for the playlist." Some people were even calling this a humiliation ritual. Other fans on a Will Smith forum really nailed what's going on here, saying, "I get what he's trying to do. It's a song made for TikTok and social media. He's trying to stay relevant. He's riding trends. It doesn't appeal to the old school hip hop heads like most of us. We're all hoping he'll get back in the lab with Jeff, but he's just having fun and trying things. The only problem is, it isn't working." Most of Will's problems began when he slapped Chris Rock live at the Oscars in front of a huge crowd of fellow celebrities back in 2022.
Jada, I love you. G.I. Jane 2, can't wait to see it. All right? Hey. I'm out here. Richard. Oh, wow. Wow. Will Smith just smacked the shit out of me.
Keep my wife's name out your fucking mouth.
Wow, dude.
Yes.
It was a G.I. Jane jump.
Keep my wife's name out your fucking mouth.
I'm going to, okay?
The entire internet freaked out on Will, with fans saying things like, "Everyone would have forgotten that joke in 15 seconds, but Will just made sure everyone remembers it forever." The moment when Will sat down and kept shouting was more awkward than the slap itself. He was upset because his wife Jada has alopecia, which is a condition that caused her to have to shave her head. Will quickly apologized for this, but it led to multiple film projects he was working on being put on hold or canceled. I think the new Bad Boys movie is the only project he's put out since that incident. This was an extremely big deal, and it resulted in Will taking a hiatus. But ever since he's come back to the public eye, it seems like he's doing everything and anything he can do to repair his image. First, he announced that he was coming back to film and music, saying that he was going to release a collab album with Joyner Lucas. Joyner Lucas is already a rapper that many regard as corny, so I don't know if that was the best move. And throughout his career, people have also called Will corny, but because he was so loved by the public and just had the perfect image, it had not mattered. At least until now. He also posted a couple of ads for this zombie game on his YouTube, which was pretty strange considering how much money he's made throughout his career. So I don't know why he did an ad like this. They must have paid him an insane amount of money.
Looks like you made it through the apocalypse. Welcome. Now, if you want to stay alive, here's what you need to know. And pay attention, because trust me, you need this way more than me.
Unsurprisingly though, the game flopped pretty hard. Regardless, Will Smith started popping up everywhere, whether it was doing interviews, freestyles, or preparing for the rollout of his upcoming album. He then announced that he was putting out his first single in 20 years. On top of tons of interviews, he also put out a freestyle with Lyrical Lemonade that didn't quite get the reception I think he was hoping for.
People ask me how I do it. I just bite off more than I can chew. Then I chew it. Yeah, y'all jokers thought I blew it. I pulled the pin out the grenade on purpose when I threw it. And even though I'm an action star, sometimes I'ma act bizarre.
The freestyle had comments like, "He rapped like an undercover cop," or "I pulled the pin out of the grenade on purpose when I threw it. Yeah, bro, that's how grenades work." On the bright side though, Charlemagne liked it.
What you doing? Chris?
Nah, Chris hating. Chris over there hating. I can't believe you over there hating on your Philly brother, Chris. Yo, Chris, that was fire! That was fucking fire shit!
He even said in an interview about his album that he called Jay-Z and Kendrick Lamar asking for advice since it's been so long since he's made music.
You know, I made 2 phone calls. I talked to Jay and I talked to Kendrick, and I was like, "Hey, I wanna get back in music," and it was like, "What's the advice?" And Jay said, like, don't fake your story. And that's where I got the based on a true story from Jay. And Kendrick, he paused, he said, man, just say that shit you always been fucking scared to say.
Sorry, mommy. You gotta say sorry, Will. You gotta say sorry.
I mean, that's Kendrick said that, mommy. I didn't say that. Yeah.
They said like, the same thing.
Yes, basically the same thing. And it was like, be honest.
But unfortunately, this advice didn't seem to really help him. Or maybe he just didn't take it. Another really strange thing, though, that he's been doing lately is developing a friendship with KSI, where they've been posting a bunch of YouTube videos. And he's also been collaborating with XQC, which is even more strange.
So you did stuff with XQC.
Yeah, he's fun.
Yeah.
So clearly, Will is doing that strategy that a lot of young artists are doing, which is collaborating with influencers or YouTubers or streamers. However, I think a Kai Cenat stream, first of all, would have made more sense and probably done better for him. But either way, he just doesn't quite appeal to these younger audiences the way that a lot of these other artists do. He doesn't really have that chemistry with these guys. Regardless, though, like I said, it's obvious he's been on a huge PR run lately. I mean, there's probably like 50 interviews he's done in the last 3 months, and it all just seems so forced. Which brings us back to his latest track, Pretty Girls. This song, with his current public perception, his age, and the type of stuff music fans are listening to these days, it couldn't have backfired harder.
Will Smith is how old?
57.
The stimulus plan that you naming is not working today for 50-however-year-old Will Smith. I don't think this is a bad song, but we can't pump this up like this is about to do something.
Even before this song, his other tracks that he put out recently are also very defensive of the status of his career. His album Based on a True Story came out in March of 2025 with a few big name features, but it failed the chart. And some of the tracks off that album seem very self-aware of where his career is at. Like the song Barbershop Day that says things like, who the fuck Will Smith think he is? And that boy damn crazy how he raising them kids. Bottom line, y'all, Will Smith is whack. Him and Jada both crazy. What you talking about? And there are plenty of other people that feel this way.
When I look at all these interviews he's doing lately and consider it alongside this recent album cycle, which feels a bit defensive in songs like Interior Barbershop, and trying to remind us all what we liked about him with Pretty Girls, which, let's be honest, feels like a past its sell-by date holdover from his Fresh Prince persona, it paints a picture, at least to me, of an artist that's trying to figure out where he fits into this current landscape.
I mean, these songs really demonstrate Will's insecurities with all of the public scrutiny he's gotten, which is why everyone thinks that all of these songs, interviews, freestyles, and appearances are all just fake, simply PR moves to win the public back over. And maybe I'm biased because I like Will Smith. I think he's cool and he's doing a lot of what he's already done throughout his career, but there are some very understandable and underlying reasons as to why people are taking it differently this time and to why people just don't like him as much in general. And it also didn't just start with him slapping Chris Rock at the Oscars. It runs a lot deeper than that. And to truly understand why Will is forcing it so hard with this PR run, these interviews, and this music, we have to understand him a little bit better. Will actually got his early public recognition from hip-hop. His music career started alongside his duo DJ Jazzy Jeff. Their hip-hop duo, DJ Jazzy Jeff and the Fresh Prince, ended up going on a pretty hot run. From 1985 to 1994, they put out 5 studio albums, which all had 5 Billboard Hot 100 Top 20 singles. Along with this, Will also went on to have a bit of a solo career in music as well, releasing 4 albums from 1997 to 2005, with his last project, Lost and Found, creating 2 US #1 hit singles. Throughout his recording career, it might shock you to find out that he's actually won 4 Grammy Awards and was nominated for another 4, which he didn't end up getting. But what's even crazier is that him and DJ Jazzy Jeff were the first to ever win a Grammy for Best Rap Performance for their 1989 song, Parents Just Don't Understand. But an interesting factor that played a role in his success was the fact that he never swore in his music. Will really had this family-friendly, positive, PG-13 vibe that was perfect for everyone to listen to. He made goofy songs that had cool stories, and they were just fun to listen to. Will even mentioned this in his song Freakin' It with the line, "Mr. Clean, yet the fact remain. Got girls that don't speak English screaming my name. All you rappers yelling about who you put in a hearse, do me a favor, write one verse without a curse." This comment was at the 1999 MTV VMAs, which really upset some other rap artists.
I want to say to all my fans out there, I never killed nobody in none of my records. I don't use no profanity in none of my records, and still I managed to get up here. Peace.
Will's lines in Freakin' It and I'm Comin' likely played a role in angering some, but it was the end of his 1999 speech which really upset Eminem, who took it all as disrespect. That's why Eminem said in his song The Real Slim Shady, Will Smith don't gotta cuss in his raps to sell records. Well, I do, so f him and f you too. Eminem also further acknowledged the diss during an MTV special.
If I want to diss somebody, then I'll diss him. I'll just come out and say, Will Smith. And he dissed the whole genre of rap. He dissed gangster rap music. I respect him for saying his opinion, but not everybody is as happy as Will Smith. So if he sees life, you know, about birds and bees and wants to rap about flowers, then let him rap about birds and bees and flowers. But don't diss nobody else. And I felt like he was taking a stab at me and Dre and anybody who uses profanity on a record to express themselves. If you feel strong enough about something, then you might put a, you know, a little before you say exactly what you're saying.
Then 5 years later, Will responded with a verse on his song Mr. Nice Guy saying, dissed by Eminem, but did it bother him? Yup, but he classy. Big Will just get another 20 mil, walk right past E. I'm a nice guy, why y'all harassing me? This feud goes to show that while Will Smith was highly revered in rap, there were those that had their problems with him and even viewed his raps as corny. Also, of course, while his rap career was very successful, his acting career was arguably leagues ahead. That's because he appeared in multiple classics like the TV show The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, and movies like Bad Boys, The Pursuit of Happiness, Men in Black, I Am Legend, Shark Tale, and many more. On Fresh Prince, Will played a fictionalized version of himself, and for this role he even ended up being nominated for a Golden Globe, which if you ask me, simultaneously winning awards in a rap career and an acting career and being like one of the GOATs of both is really impressive. Like, even if you're not a huge movie fan, I'm sure most people watching have their favorite Will Smith movie, which you can't say about a lot of actors. Across acting and music, Will has won 25 major awards and was nominated for 75. And the main reason for this was because Will Smith had crafted the perfect, lovable, family-friendly, and charismatic personality that was absolutely perfect for the entertainment industry. Unfortunately, though, this would not last forever. Acting and music were not the only places that Will succeeded in. He was also known to be quite the family man. In a time where celebrity marriages felt like they ended as soon as they started, the Smiths always stood out. Jada and Will went public with their relationship back in 1995 and got married in 1997, after meeting a few years before on the set of The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. At this point, Jada was already also a successful actor, so when the two bonded, a power couple was born. In 1998, they had their son Jaden, and 2 years later, they had their daughter Willow. And Will also had another kid named Trey with someone else. However, both Jaden and Willow quickly followed in their parents' footsteps, starring alongside their father in multiple projects. For Jaden, you might recognize seeing a young version of him in The Pursuit of Happiness, and for Willow, she can be seen in I Am Legend. However, it wasn't just acting either. Jaden and Willow also both got into music as well, with the two reaching pretty decent levels of success. From the outside, it all kind of seemed like this was the perfect star-filled family, especially compared to the typical Hollywood burnouts and scandal-filled family lives. Will and Jada were included in a lot of power couple lists, and it just seemed like the perfect Hollywood marriage. However, it was not all perfect. In 2013, rumors began to swirl about some potential trouble in paradise. Some rumors started going around where fans speculated that Will and Jada had an open marriage. A big part of what started this rumor was when Jada said to HuffPost Live, "I've always told Will, you can do whatever you want as long as you can look yourself in the mirror and be okay. Because at the end of the day, Will is his own man. I'm here as his partner, but he is his own man. He has to decide who he wants to be, and that's not for me to do for him, or vice versa." After this, fans started talking, so Jada quickly responded on Facebook saying, "Will and I both can do whatever we want because we trust each other to do so. This does not mean we have an open relationship. This means we have a grown one." And she didn't technically say that they don't have an open relationship, so fans continued going crazy with the rumors. Around this time, another rumor spawned because people were wondering if Will was having an affair with his Focus co-star at the time, Margot Robbie, because of some scandalous pictures of the two that leaked. But they both shot this down pretty quickly, saying they were just having fun. However, the once perfect couple was not entirely out of the woods at this point. In 2015, when the two appeared on Howard Stern together discussing their relationship, people started questioning Jada again after she said, "I'm not the kind of woman that believes that a man's not going to be attracted to other women. It's just not realistic." And just because your man is attracted to another woman doesn't mean he doesn't love you, and it doesn't mean he's gonna act on it. On top of this, 2 months later, Will took his turn jumping on Facebook to address the potential divorce rumors, saying, "Under normal circumstances, I don't usually respond to foolishness because it's contagious, but so many people have extended me their deepest condolences that I figured, what the hell, I can be foolish too." So in the interest of redundant, repetitious, over and over againness, Jada and I are not getting a divorce. I promise you all, if I ever decide to divorce my queen, I swear I'll tell you myself. Then when it finally seemed like they were both gonna be okay and it was just rumors, you know, going around on the internet, in 2016 the two quietly separated but did not get a divorce. This news didn't actually end up coming out though until 2023 in an interview with the Today Show, and in this interview Jada said that by 2016 we were just exhausted with trying. I think we were still both kind of stuck in our fantasy of what we thought the other person should be, but we'll go more into this later. In 2017, Will publicly celebrated 20 years of marriage with a long-worded, heartfelt post, which is kind of sad because Jada had just said in an interview regarding them constantly being called swingers, "That's the craziest one. It's constant." And I'm like, yo, I wish. Poor Will Smith, man. Then the following year, Will mentioned that the two don't consider themselves as married anymore, but rather as life partners. And it got way worse after Jada had met the musician August Alsina. She had mentioned before that he was a dear family friend who she met in 2015 after he performed with her son Jaden. Then things took a disastrous turn in 2019 when he alluded to having a relationship with Jada in his music video for the song Nunya. At this point, the rumors picked up again and were going crazy. And in 2020, things were officially confirmed by Alsina when he gave some insight on his and Jada's relationship. In an interview with Angela Yee, he spoke about how he gave years of his life to a relationship with Jada. He even said, "I actually sat down with Will and had a conversation due to the transformation from their marriage to life partnership that they've spoken on several times, not involving romanticism. He gave me his blessing. I totally gave myself to that relationship for years of my life. I truly and really deeply love and have a ton of love for her." Then the following month is when Jada decided to have Will on her podcast, The Red Table Talk Show, and this was the viral entanglement episode. During the awkward conversation, Jada confirmed that there was in fact a romantic relationship between herself and August Alsina.
"You and I were going through a very difficult time.
Yeah.
And we decided..."
I was done with your ass.
Yeah, you kicked me to the curb.
I was done with you.
Yeah.
Marriages have that, though. Marriages have that.
Yeah, we basically, we broke up.
And then what did you do, Jada?
Well, you know, I think from there, you know, as time went on, I got into a different kind of entanglement with August.
An entanglement?
Yes. Yes.
A relationship.
Yes, it was a relationship.
She detailed that the relationship lasted 4.5 years while her and Will were separated, and it came at a point where she wasn't sure if her and Will's relationship would ever continue. They also discussed Alsina's false claims that he talked to Will and got permission, stating that it was just an attempt to clear his name in case people were calling him a homewrecker. Then she basically said that, yeah, I ended it with Alsina and now I'm back with you and it's a miracle. But after that train wreck of a media display and yet another weird twist, Will went on a GQ interview muddying the water further. In this, he seemingly tried to cover his own ass a bit, saying that she wasn't the only one hooking up with other people, all while not going into too much detail. Will explained that throughout their long marriage, the two constantly had issues with defining what perfect looked like, and while monogamy was the main choice, it clearly wasn't always the only one. Oh, and Jada used to be with Tupac, and that still haunts Will to this day. Will Smith had spent years, decades, perfecting the perfect PR public image, which was him being a charismatic, lovable, family man, PG-13, family friendly, all of those things. The drama with Jada, and it wasn't entirely her fault, but it, you know, she kind of sucks. It just completely destroyed this image that he had been developing. And as his name had constantly been getting dragged through the mud, we finally come back to the slap. Now, personally, I don't even think the slap was that big of a deal. Obviously it was bad, but it just completely ravaged his career in a way that I don't even think was fair. But the reason this happened is because his career has really relied on his image, which had been really hurt by the slap. One fan said on a video about the state of Will's career, "The problem is that post-slap you can no longer see him as the cool under pressure, unflappable leading man, the type character he became famous for playing." Another said, "Will Smith's whole career was powered solely by his likability. He doesn't have that anymore." On top of that, he slapped Chris Rock for a woman who had drug his name through the mud for like the last decade. But somehow it gets worse. After this incident, an old video that Jada posted resurfaced and had fans feeling a type of way about her.
"You know Esther Perel is coming to the table. She's going to be at the red table. Would you say she has been instrumental in you and I redefining our relationship?
I would say don't just start filming me without asking me
Oh my goodness.
if you could film me.
Astaire, come help us again, please. I'm still dealing with foolishness.
Because she don't just.
Would you say that she helped us heal the hurts that we caused one another?
My social media presence is my bread and butter, okay? So you can't just use me for social media and not, don't just start rolling. I'm standing in my house. Don't just start rolling.
Please watch Astaire at the red table because she's helped us a lot.
And this clip was really sad. I mean, it seemed like Will was on the verge of tears. But rather than trying to get Will out of what seemed like a toxic relationship, the internet did what they did best and made fun of him. Everyone clowned on Will Smith for being a weak man and not standing up for himself. Like this tweet that says, Jada got Will looking like he back in the pursuit of happiness. Or this one that says, the Fresh Prince of Despair. Even 50 Cent joined in on clowning Will, DMing him saying, yo, Will, you alright over there? Will responded, yes, I'm cool. Appreciate your concern, my brother. Which, pause real quick, Will was like probably really sad and was really happy that 50 reached out just for this to happen. 50 says, but why she tell you that shit on a show for everybody to see? Will says, we broke up, so she did her and I did me. And then 50 goes, then she said only she can give permission for somebody to blow her back out. To which Will said, fuck you, 50. However, some fans do feel bad, saying things like, all the major signs of a broken man controlled and imprisoned by a toxic woman. Or, if he left Jada, it would probably be the best thing not only for his career, but his family and most importantly himself. So him slapping Chris Rock at an awards ceremony for a woman who drug his name through the mud for years, on top of the very obvious PR stuff he's been doing lately, is what has really landed Will Smith in the rough spot that he's in. Oh, and apart from Bad Boys, he's had a pretty rough run of movies lately too. Will Smith is still a very iconic, legendary, well-respected actor and musician. His accolades speak for themselves. However, lately he has been tarnishing his legacy for the sake of trying to get the public to like him again and clean up his image, rather than just saying, hey, I'm 56, I'm the GOAT, who cares that I slapped some guy and that my wife sucks? I still love Will Smith, I still love his movies, and his music's never really been my favorite. You know, I'm a younger guy that's kind of out of my generation. But it's not like the new song he put out, Pretty Girls, is the worst thing ever. The new Bad Boys movie went over well too. I think if he just focuses more on being himself rather than the family-friendly, perfect celebrity he has always tried to portray, and stops popping up on every possible platform in the world, he would be a lot happier and fans would respect it more. That's just my opinion though, so let me know what you guys think in the comments below. If you like this video, you might like my video about another rapper from that era, Jay-Z, and his ambitious yet unsuccessful project Tidal. Anyways, thank you guys for watching. If you enjoyed, please leave a like or even consider subscribing down below. Other than that though, it's been your boy Matty Balls, and I'll see you guys next time. I love you, Will Smith.